The riverbanks here along the Seine was a popular place for the Impressionists to paint. Still looks quite scenic. This is for people to get their bicycles up and down so they don't have to carry them up the stairs. This is looking upriver, and there's a nice church back there. And this is across the river, much more modern. There's a bridge down here that opens up, but the shipping companies don't use it. They stay out on the coast because they're afraid of strikes. Look at this beautiful building. From this, we turn around side street. Wow. These half-timbered buildings are just beautiful. The houses stick out because they pay taxes based on the footage on the ground. So upstairs your rooms could be bigger at no extra cost. It's ground level.
So in the 16th century,
first floor, second floor. These are older.
So it was exactly in
and then they went to the flat ones.
Where this interdiction was published. So now you can already
this is 1736.
know by yourself.
It's from the 15th century. Gothic flamboyant, for sure. And it was cleaned just last year. The Huguenots in the Wars of Religion tore the heads off the statues.
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
Tanners and textile workers were in this area. Another beautiful street. This is really old. This was a university, and during the time of the plague, 1348 is when the plague arrived in Europe. They buried people in huge, big pits here. Then after the Black Death, they needed room for schools, so they just had a school upstairs with the bones down below. It's the last medieval bone houses in Europe till the French Revolution. Then they moved them outside of town. There's a cricket house here in Rouen. That's Napoleon down there from his victory at Austerlitz. Appears to be a store with mostly cats.
Cat house.
A cat house. This display is for Easter. These are the oldest houses in Rouen. These very old houses are close to the cathedral. These date to the 1480s. This is the north side of the cathedral. And just last year they found evidence of pre-Christian temples on this site. This was built as a Romanesque cathedral, and then they redesigned it and it became Gothic.
This is the local limestone that we found here in the valley of the River Seine.
This is local limestone from Caen, the Tower of London. was built with the same color stone, the same stone, they just hauled it across. Monet painted more than 30 paintings here. The first period was straight on from a second story. The second batch was from an underwear store. Then he got kicked out of there, and the later ones are from a different store window's perspective. Salome. And over here, St. John's getting his head cut off. And over here is King Harold inside the cathedral in Rouen. Beautiful pipe organ.
Gothic, because here you have the typical fourth elevation of the early Gothic. Okay, you have the high arcades, the tribunes, the triforium, and the clerestory. And all these parts were necessary to keep the weight from the vaulting, because in the end the vaulting, the stone vaulting, was one of the inventions of the Gothic. Okay, so all the elements of the construction were necessary and important to bring down the weight of these vaulting. Gothic of the 14th century, the high arcades are even much higher. You have just the triforium and the clerestory one more time, even much higher than here in the nave.
There's 13th century stained glass, and bottom is 15th century. It got bombed April 1944. This is an original. This is reconstruction after the war. This statue was not destroyed in the war. It was found amid all the rubbish undamaged. This is the transept, which is the arm of the cross. There's the altar and the other transept. And look at the rose window. This was the bell tower over the altar. And the tower is 150 feet. Normally outside on the facade, but they brought them in here to clean, and they labeled them, but they will be going back outside. Here's what one looks like that they haven't cleaned.
This line figure is just from the 14th century, because the first one was destroyed with a big fire. Okay, but maybe, you know, for the
King Richard the First heart is here. His body's down on the Loire.
One for the hand, one for... You see a pharaoh standing, and he is holding a banner in his hands. And on this banner, you have writings in white letters. Okay, and there is written Clemens, glassmaker of Chartres, Latin. But if you don't believe it, you can read it in every book. It's really true. So you can say this is the first artistic signature ever. And he had asked for the Gothic cathedral. But then, just a short time after, he died. And he was buried here. And this grave is older than everything around here. Okay, you must imagine his grave was here, and they have built the cathedral around. This was normal in the Middle Age. And
this is a chapel of Our Lady, and she was so popular they had to expand this in the 1500s. This beautiful staircase leads up to the library. Here's a Viking ship. The Normans do descend from the Vikings. This is the baptistry. They did it inside the church, but in this side chapel.